have a lift sticker on it, so obviously it means, there you go.
Yeah, right.
You actually run this as a lift mobile?
Yeah.
You tell the people in lift, your lift passengers, that you drag race this thing?
I don't bring it up, no.
Oh.
And so then they're kind of thrown when I tell them my best run was a 10.94, and they're like, holy
And then
cow.
you ask them, by the way, how soon do you want to get there? Hey everybody, welcome again to a new edition of the Talking About Cars podcast with Randy Cardoon. That be me. Hot Rod Bob Beck is on assignment, and we'll hear more from him in future episodes. So this time around, we are at Pacific Raceway in the state of Washington for bracket racing. That's right, bracket racing. Local guys mostly driving cars, trucks, dragsters, all sorts of things, even motorcycles. They're all about to get together and do some interesting racing here. But it's not that it's all about bracket racing. That's not why we did this episode. We did this episode because we found a guy who happened to not only race his own basically Dodge Challenger Hellcat, but he'll also be racing another car here. What's so unusual about that? Well, the car he's racing will be a Tesla. That's right, same event, two cars, a Hellcat and a Tesla. You're going to meet that man coming up in just a little bit, plus a guy who is not only here riding the EV run and drag racing, but he's doing it in a Tesla pickup truck, which also happens to be also a car he uses as a Lyft driver. Can you imagine what would happen if you showed up and called a Lyft driver and somebody showed up in a Tesla pickup truck and basically explained to you, oh yeah, I race this? Yeah, it's an interesting story. You'll enjoy it.
I've had an interest in racing for, years and years. I used to race figure eights, crazy figure eights out in Spanaway when I was in high school. Did that for a year. And then drag racing, this just happened recently because of the fact that my kids moved out and, and I got extra money and, and it's like, okay, I can do this and I got the time, right? So that's really what kind of got me into it. That, and out of all the sports that I was interested in, this is one of the cheaper ones to deal with, especially with the Hellcat. Because I've only got two tires to really worry about, and I can drive it to the track, change tires, race all day, change tires, drive it home, and still go out on cruises and date nights with the wife with that car, right? It's not just a one-purpose car, where a lot of the other guys out here are trailering their car. It's a race car only. They've gutted it out. There's no interior. There's no stereo in it. Nothing, right? Well, that thing's fully loaded. And this being a hobby that you can do with a fully loaded car, because you're not racing, you're not grunge racing. So grunge racing is where it's whoever is the fastest first to the finish line wins. You're bracket racing, so it's based upon numbers, and you don't have to be the fastest car, and you can take it all. And I got an opportunity joining a car club that was doing shows and cruises. They said, oh, we're going to go out to the drag races and do car club challenge. And so I did that once, going out with them, and that hooked me. And
was that, what kind of car club? Was that the Mopar Club?
Yeah, so the Mopar Club I was part of, Western Washington Modern Mopar. We were doing different events and different things, and so they had brought up that we were going to try this with everybody. And so we took like 40, 50 cars out there to do this, and jumped into this drag racing, and it just, for me, it just kind of took off. Then I realized, oh my God, this is my niche, because it doesn't matter what you're driving, everybody's got the same opportunity of winning. It's your ability to cut the light and then run your number, and everybody's capable of it. It's how much time you want to put in before you're going to start succeeding. So it was nice to, because the first couple of years I wasn't very good. I was going out first round, maybe second round. If I got lucky, I made second round. It's only in the last couple of years, all of a sudden, I'm actually going rounds. On an average, I'm most of the time I'm one round, if not into the semis. Almost any event I enter now. Where before, first round, second round, I was done because I wasn't able to tighten my numbers up and get the car to cut the light and to run the number.
How long does that take to really get that? That's got to be a motor skill thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, and it's a tiny. So the lights are like 1 second apart as they go down the tree, but it's also positioning the car in the proper position within the lights, so that when you react, the car reacts and triggers the secondary light accordingly, because you're actually trying to get that light tripped at the same time the green light's coming on, and so there's a timing process to that. And it's taken me years. I mean, I've been at this 7 years now, and in the last year or two, everything's actually starting to come together. I got the Hellcat brand new in 2017.
Oh, okay.
And so basically the year I got it, I had to put so many miles on it, 1,500 miles on it. I drove the crap out of it, get those miles on right before the season started in that year. But I didn't have tires. I didn't have anything extra that I do now in the car to be competitive. And I had to teach the car. Computer cars, you gotta teach them. This is what you want. This is what you want it to do. And so I've had to teach the car, and it's taken years. It's not something that just happens in a weekend of just going out and hammering on it.
It's funny, you're listening to you. It's almost like it's alive.
Well, and it is, because it's AI. To some degree, it's AI. So it's on a learning cycle all the time. Even this Tesla, it's on a learning cycle all the time. And so the second you start being nice to it and not driving it the way you want it to perform, it starts backing things down. And then you've got to start pushing past that again, right? So the Challenger, so the first 2 years sucked. I mean, really bad. The car wouldn't run the same number at all. It was all over the place. And then the third year, it started to get a little better. And then last year, I was still fighting with things, and so I did a fuel additive, and all of a sudden things tightened up even more. Usually on that car, I'm within 1/10 of its number every time I run it.
Well, this is mostly, you bought this not to race originally, right?
Right. So I bought it as a daily driver just for commuting. It was a money thing, right? It made more sense money-wise. So it was, yeah, we need to do this, right? And so we went ahead and did it. And then I was about a week after I had the car that somebody had mentioned, I had posted it on Facebook, look, we went green, right? I was just trying to be funny. And one of my guys I raced with was like, well, how soon until you race it? And it took me about an hour, and I'm like, I could probably do that. And so then at that point I started thinking about that day, how I was going to make it happen and what classes I was going to run with it. And the opportunity, there's not very many people in the EV class. So me missing 2 races to begin the season didn't matter much. There's more to do in the Challenger just to set myself up into the lights, where this thing, once I'm in the lights, I just wait to hit the gas pedal. Where the Hellcat, I'm on the brakes and on the gas, I'm powered up, I'm bringing RPMs up, and I'm making sure I'm in the lights properly, and I do something that most drivers don't do, is I deep stage into the lights.
Does anybody else do what you're doing as far as racing one car, a gas-powered car, and then come in and say, hey, I'm also going to run an EV? I mean, do you ever see that, or even a guy running 2 different cars at a race?
Well, so there's a couple of guys here in the EV class that don't necessarily like that I'm running my gas-powered car, and then the guys that are in the gas-powered cars are doing the same thing. Like, you're running the EV too, and I've actually got a lot of hate for running the EV, and I don't get it. I don't understand why, and if anything, it's kind of driving me to prove them wrong, right?
Do you see a big future or a big change coming in the way that EVs are more incorporated into drag racing and that kind of stuff, or even circle track racing?
Well, just in the last 5 to 10 years, EVs weren't a thing at all. and NHRA has just started to accept them into the community at all. So I can see those classes of sportsman, pro, and whatnot that are gas-powered vehicles mostly starting to kind of rotate over the next 20 years, right? Those guys are going to start breaking those cars to where they can't repair them, and they're going to start changing the cars that are around that they can get, right? And so it's going to be something that's going to start happening. It's just going to take time. I do it because I don't like sitting here all day between rounds. So if I can be in multiple classes and I don't care what cars I'm in, that's what I want to do, because I want to go down the racetrack. I don't want to be sitting here camping. It's like being at a car show for me. I don't like sitting all day. It's very boring to me. I'd rather be behind the wheel and driving.
You had mentioned that you have to change the tires on the back of the Challenger or the front of the Challenger too, as part of drag racing it and that kind of stuff, because you're burning the rubber, you're doing whatever else you can. Right. On this car, what do you have to do for this car to get it ready to race on the weekend?
Hit the screen, put it into. We go ahead and we put it right into track mode, and now I'm ready to go.
That's it. You don't have to change tires or anything like that.
I double check my tire pressures, which I need to put a pound in. Other than that, that's it. And it's just go up and cut a light.
This seems so much easier than driving the Challenger.
Way easier. It is night and day. You know, the Challenger, I should be checking the tires after every run and everything. I check them at the beginning of the season and usually don't touch them till the end of the season. Once I got them set, I just leave them because I'm not running them on the street. And so they're only here at the track. They vary about 2 pounds between every run anyways. And so I don't even worry about it, you know? And this thing kind of self-medicates. I mean, really, that's what it's doing, because it's temporizing each motor with fans, and then it's got the battery cooling and battery heating to get the battery temperature to the right temperatures.
I mean, we've heard a lot of things at racetracks where these things really take off like a shot at the beginning from a standing start. But I don't think Tesla has ever really used this as a sales technique of, hey, you're getting this car, you're helping the environment, quote unquote, and oh, by the way, there's not much between what you're going to buy and a race car that you could take to the local track.
On the average car on the road, this thing is a rocket. Compared to my Hellcat, this thing is slow off the line. This thing does 2 zeros on the 60 foot. My Hellcat in low power does 1.8. Okay. In big power, it does 1.7s in the 60 foot. So they are night and day. But that being said, this thing, not far off the Hellcat, the more that you're going down the track, the faster it seems to get. It is. It's just fun. It gives me something to do every weekend. You know, when the kids moved out and I didn't had the Challenger yet. I was sitting around the house and I had all these honey-do things to do, right? I did all those in the first month every weekend. And all of a sudden I'm sitting around the house waiting for the wife to get home so we can go to dinner. And I'm literally sitting around the house watching TV, not doing anything. And then the wife was like, well, you need to do something. And then another buddy of mine was like, hey, you should join the car club. And at the time, we didn't even have the Challenger. I had a RT Durango. And I'm like, well, all I got is the Durango. And they're like, yeah, join. It's a modern muscle thing, so join. And so I joined it, and then it took off. The following year is when I picked up the Challenger, and then I just started doing all the car club stuff. But I'm not the only one out here doing it either. There's other guys across the country that are racing different Teslas. There's a couple of guys across the country that are taking wrecked Teslas, pulling the bodies off of them, and putting other bodies on, and they're out drag racing them. They're not street legal, right? But they're out there racing these plaid Teslas.
So bodies, what are they putting on them?
One guy's got a minivan body on it, on like a Model S sedan. Oh, wow. He took the sedan body off and dropped on this minivan. So, and they're having fun with it. That's what it's about. It's about having fun. If you're not having fun at it, it's not worth doing it anymore.
So you drag race your Tesla truck. Was that on purpose, or it just happened to be a thing, and how did that happen?
Yeah, kind of on purpose. I try to bring down every car that I've had just to get a time slip at least one time, even if it's not for points or anything. Last year with my Ford F-150 Lightning was the first year I ran for points. Went down to finals at Woodburn last year with that, and then picked this up about 4 months ago. So brought it down when it was 3 days old, and surprised everybody when it ran a 10.94. So completely stock and naked and lightweight, and hadn't added any of my extra bits and bobs to it yet. So slowed it down a little bit since that with cargo, and I've got a roof rack and a spare tire up on the roof now, so a couple 100 pounds extra weight and a little bit of extra drag. I think the last best time I ran with a tire on the roof was 11:02.
Is this the oddest car you've ever owned to race?
So I've raced a Prius, which is pretty odd to race. Raced a 2000 Honda Insight 5-speed. That's a pretty weird one to race. My Nissan Leaf, I raced it.
How'd that do?
It's not that quick. It's probably the slowest of the EVs. Raced my Chevy Bolt probably once or twice. Yeah, those ones are fun because you can force the parking brake on and do a burnout. So that's always kind of weird to see a little Nissan Leaf doing a burnout. Right?
I didn't even know you could do a burnout in a Nissan Leaf.
Yep, yeah, it's got enough to smoke them when it's wet, right?
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
smoke 'em when it's wet.
I got after my Volkswagen Vanagon broke down and I was tired of fixing it. I picked up that 2000 Honda Insight when it was pretty new in 2000. Went down to Portland to an electric car show, thinking, "Hey, I've got this brand new electric technology stuff," and found out that it wasn't really electric at all. It does not plug in. It was introduced to a bunch of actual electric, mostly conversions at the time, right? People weren't, most of the OEMs weren't selling anything electric, and got into following a bunch of guys that build electric drag cars, electric conversions with forklift motors and lead acid batteries back 2000 through 2006 or so. And so, I've always been a car guy, love cars, love to drive. And so, the performance aspect of the instant torque from electric, even with old school, forklift parts and stuff, was a really neat way to showcase that they're not golf carts. They don't need to be slow, right? They can be, fast or faster. The power density of an electric motor is, off the charts. It's hard to replicate that.
Right.
So
Especially from a standing start.
yeah, especially from 0 RPMs. No transmission for the mechanical advantage, right? Most of those are just 1-speed truck drive. Motors back to the differential, and that's it. So, yeah. So, so the performance side of it kind of makes them not boring, right? Which is part of, what sells.
What's the reaction to having a Tesla truck, and for that matter, a Nissan Leaf, drag racing at events like this?
So I got lots of cheers doing a burnout in the Leaf. Otherwise, the Leaf wasn't so impressive for its speed and time down the track, but that doesn't matter so much in the brackets, right? It's about consistency, which the electric are pretty consistent, so that makes that part of the equation a little bit easy.
You just press 2 buttons on this thing and it's ready to race.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing on this one?
Yeah. So the 3-motor version of the truck has it's called a beast mode driving profile. It's got chill mode, normal mode, and the 3-motor has a beast mode, which has the same launch control that the Plaid cars have. So control, dynamic, so comfort, standard, beast. I've also got it and I've also got it set up on a hot button on the wheel, so I can switch between the modes without going into the menus. Yeah. And then I think all the trucks have a off-road mode that you can do fun stuff like go full front wheel drive, full rear wheel drive, take off the traction control completely for fun mode, drift mode. Still working on hacking the thing to have kind of the equivalent of a line lock so you can do burnouts. Don't know if I want to void my warranty after 4 months already, so maybe we'll do that in a couple of years or something.
Something to look forward to, having a Tesla truck do a burnout at a drag race.
Yeah, we'll do a front wheel burnout and then do a rear wheel burnout, but got to figure out how to get the brakes to lock up. So
I was going to say, you'll get everybody to blow their mind on that. You have a lift sticker on it, so obviously means you have a lift sticker on it, so obviously it means, there you go, you actually run this as a lift mobile?
Yeah. So one of the best ways to turn people on to electric vehicles, we've got this saying, butts in seats, right? Giving people rides. And so if I can, give people rides during my commute to and from work and, ask and answer questions and, get them in the car and, have them, feel how it feels and, answer questions they have about charging and range and whatever. Yeah, most people are pretty thrilled or taken aback that, hey, I got a Cybertruck, so I've got special stickers on the doors, right, since they are strange and don't have handles, right, so that for people to get in, that's usually the biggest hurdle is getting them inside the door. Right, but yeah, so it's a lot of fun to just get people exposed to electric stuff. I did Uber and Lyft in my Ford F-150 Lightning also, and so that was also kind of strange. That truck doesn't stand out because it looks like a regular F-150. It's built mostly on same body, same frame, and stuff like that.
Do you tell the people in Lyft, your Lyft passengers, that you drag race this thing?
I don't bring it up, no.
Okay.
So some people notice. I usually have my numbers. I leave them on the window and have some of the stickers on the truck, and so some people who are familiar with it will notice and mention and say, you race this, and what do you run? And so then they're kind of thrown when I tell them my best run was a 1094, and they're like, holy
And then
cow.
you ask them, by the way, how soon do you want to get there?
Yeah. No, I don't offer to do that. Not a lot of people do. I think occasionally, somebody, asks how quick it is, and if we're doing an on-ramp on the freeway, we might goose it a little bit for them.
Well, I started in my high school auto shop program, and I don't mean I was in high school. I mean I taught high school auto shop at Bothell High School for the North Shore School District for 19 years. And we were looking to do something alternative fuels, and I actually considered biodiesel, and got shut down by the fire department actually. So we decided to build an electric car. That car, we built a BMW street car conversion with some basic parts available off the.
This was when?
2012-ish, 2012 I think. And that car got the attention of an educational research foundation called Foundry 10. They're a really, really progressive educational foundation that believes in hands-on learning and shop classes, dance classes, computer classes, things like that. It's backed by a company called Steam that does online gaming here in the Pacific Northwest. And so they saw the car that we built and asked us if we'd build another one. They wanted to watch the kids learn and interview them during the process. At first I said no. It had taken us about 2.5 years to build the car, and it was a lot of time out of the regular program. But they sort of made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and we decided to build an electric race car. So we built the first 800-volt AC-powered electric dragster in potentially the world, definitely the United States. There's a car in Sweden. They came out about the same time with an AC-powered car. Yeah, so we got a lot of attention from that. I drove it. The kids were my pit crew. We traveled all around the Northwest here at Pacific Raceways, Woodburn, Oregon at Woodburn Drag Strip, BC at Mission Raceways, all the way to Montana actually, and had a really good time for several years doing that. Then I built. Then a guy approached me here in the Pacific Northwest named Steve Huff. If you're an EV enthusiast, you definitely know who he is. He just recently set the world record for the 200 mile an hour EV record, and both myself and my business partner built that car for him. I drove it for the first year, got it mostly dialed in, and he took over after that and set the record. That car got the attention of General Motors, who asked us to build them an electric Camaro, and we built a car in 2018 called the eCopo Camaro, and it was really the first OEM-backed electric race car. And then that car gathered the attention of Ford Motor Company, who asked us to build a car for them, twice as powerful and twice as fast. And we've gotten twice as powerful, but not quite twice as fast in it. And that car has had a couple of iterations. It was the Cobra Jet 1400, and now it's called the Super Cobra Jet 1800.
Wow. And you own some sort of speed record.
I own a few records, or have been intimately involved in almost all of them, except for the company out of Sweden and the motorcycles. But yeah, between being a part of Huffs, he owns that record, he drove it, but I definitely feel a kinship to it. And then I personally have driven high school powered cars, have their own sort of record, and the high school car went 8:32 at 166, and then the Cobra Jet 1400 set a record with Bob Tasca, who's the funny car driver for the NHRA for Ford, driving it, and he went 8:12 at I don't remember now, 170, some 178 maybe, I don't remember. And then just recently I was able to jump in that car this year and drive it as a Super Cobra Jet 1800, and we went 7.75 seconds at 180 miles an hour.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. And that's in a Mustang?
It's a Mustang body, yeah. Not a Mach-E body, but a two-door Mustang body. Yep. Yeah. SN95 series Mustang, yep.
So I guess I'm not stretching the point to say you're a big believer, or you're more bullish on EV dragsters than most people.
We certainly have our hands in a lot of it. You know, I do want to tell anyone that's watching that runs gas cars, we are not trying to replace anybody. But you know, I like the smell of nitromethane in the morning, just like everybody does. But I think EV does have a place in drag racing. You know, it's a cool technology. It's a different kind of power application where you have a lot of torque, and right off the line, I mean, we leave at 0 RPMs. These cars leave at 0 RPMs. It's a different kind of sensation, but it has its place, I think. Yeah.
And of course, you being a former teacher in auto shop in high schools, your assessment of where we're at as far as trying to get where it's going, and you know, can high school auto shop be revived?
That's a super hard question. High school auto shops are closing at a rapid click. Teachers like me are retiring out of programs and finding it difficult to replace themselves. So both myself and my brother were auto shop teachers for 20 plus years. I was in North Shore, which is the top of Lake Washington, and my brother was at Bellevue High School on the east side of Lake Washington. And we both just retired recently. Luckily, I was able to find two of my ex-students that would take those shop spots and continue them on. But it's very difficult to find someone who wants to leave automotive technology, because it is a in-demand field and there is a very reasonable pay rate to be a highly trained automotive technician. So to leave that, become a teacher, you know, there has to be a want to do that, you know, and both the students that I have in those programs had great experiences, and I think they want to continue that for other kids. So.